Hello good day viewers. In this tutorial we are going to find a solution to this interesting complex problem. We are given the question: if 2z minus 3i divided by 2z plus I is purely imaginary, then we are asked to find the square root of 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 4y plus 1. Alright, let's get started. What does it mean by this complex number to be purely imaginary? It means that the real part is equal to 0. So first of all, let us simplify this. But what you should remember is that z is equal to x plus I generally. So we are going to substitute this into our main expression, which is this one. So let's do that. So this is our expression. We can now substitute z to be equal to x plus yi. So we have 2 multiplied by x plus yi, then minus 3i to the top. Then to the bottom we have 2 multiplied by z, which is x plus yi, then plus I. Let's simplify this. If you expand the bracket, you have 2 times x times yi. That will give us 2x plus 2yi, then minus 3i. Divide by 2x plus 2yi, then plus I. Now we are going to rationalize the denominator by multiplying the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. And the conjugate of the denominator will be 2x minus 2yi minus I. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by that. So we have 2x plus 2yi minus 3i to the top. And to the bottom we have 2x plus 2yi plus I. Then multiply by 2x minus 2yi minus I. This is the conjugate. We do the same thing to the bottom. 2x minus 2yi, then minus I. All right. I'm going to show you everything. I know the bottom will be a difference of 2 squares, but I will not do that. This is equal to the top we have 2x. We're going to distribute it over 2x minus 2yi minus I. Then you take the second term, which is 2yi. We also distribute it over 2x minus 2yi minus I. Then we take the last one, which is negative 3i. Negative 3i, distribute over 2x minus 2yi minus I. We're going to do the same thing to the bottom. To the bottom we take this, we distribute over the whole of this. So we have 2x distribute over 2x minus 2yi minus I. Second term is 2yi distribute over 2x minus 2yi minus I, and the last term is just I plus I distribute over 2x minus 2yi minus I. Now let us expand all these brackets. Let's start with the first one to the top. 2x times 2x, that will give us 4x squared. So we have 4x squared. Then we take 2x, we multiply by negative 2yi, that will give us negative 4xyi. Then 2x multiplied by negative I, that will give us negative 2xi. Negative 2xi. We are done with this bracket. Move to the next one. 2yi times 2x, that will give us 4xyi plus 4xyi. Then 2yi times negative 2yi, that will give us negative 4y squared I squared. Then the last term, 2yi times negative I, that will give us negative 2yi squared. And lastly, we have this times this. That will give us 6 negative 6xi, negative 6xi. Then we have negative negative is positive. If you multiply by this, you have 6yi squared, right? Plus 6yi squared. Then lastly, negative negative is positive. 3i times I is 3i squared. Then coming to the bottom, we have 2x times 2x. That will give us 4x squared. 4x squared. I think the first 6 expansions will be the same, right? Because you can see we have everything, almost everything the same from this position. So we can just copy that. The only difference is the last 3 times. So let's copy the first 6 times. Minus 4xyi minus 2xi plus 4xyi minus 4y squared I squared, then minus 2y I squared. This is the first 6 times. Then we have I times 2x. That will give us 2xi. I times negative 2yi, we have a negative 2yi squared. Then we have I times negative I. That will give us negative I squared. All right. We have negative 4xyi and positive 4xyi. They will cancel because they are just opposite. Let me write the first term. This is the first term. That will give us 4x squared. Then remember that I squared is negative 1. So from this, you see we have I squared. That will give us negative 1. And negative 1 times negative 4y squared, that will give us positive 4y squared. So let me write it. Positive 4y squared. This is another I squared, which is negative 1 times negative 2. That will give us positive 2y. That is positive 2y. We have another I squared here, which is negative 1 times 6y. That is negative 6y. We have an I squared here, and this I squared will give us negative 1, and negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. So we have negative 3 right here. Then the imaginary part that is left, we have negative 2xi and negative 6xi, making negative 8xi. Negative 8xi. Then we move down. I can see that we have negative 4xyi. We have positive 4xyi. They will cancel. And we have negative 2xi. We have positive 2xi. They will cancel as well. What else? Let me write this down. We have 4x squared here. Let me write it. 4x squared. I squared is negative 1, and negative 1 times negative 4y squared, that will give us positive 4y squared. Then we have another I squared here, which is going to give us negative 1 multiplied by negative 2y. That will give us positive 2y. We have another one right here, which is going to give us positive 2y as well. Positive 2y. And lastly, we have I squared here, which is negative 1, and negative 1 times negative will give us positive 1, right? So plus 1. Let's further simplify it for the last time. To the top, we have 4x squared plus 4y squared. This together will give us negative 4y, negative 4y. We have minus 3, then minus 8xi. Then to the bottom, we have 4x squared plus 4y squared. This together will give us 4y, positive 4y, then plus 1. Lastly, I would like to separate the real and the imaginary parts. You see to the top, we only have this as imaginary part. So we take the whole of this and divide by this. And Okay, we don't even have to do that. Remember, they said it is purely imaginary. Therefore, the real part will have to be equal to 0. So we can just take this and set it to be equal to 0, right? And you know that the denominator cannot be equal to 0. Hence, the numerator will have to be equal to 0. This implies that 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 4y minus 3 will be equal to 0. But remember what we are looking for? We are looking for the square root of this. And we have something very similar to this. Let me copy this for you to see. This is what we are looking for, but this is what we have. We have 4x squared, we have 4x squared. 4y squared, 4y squared. Minus 4y minus 4y. Minus 3, but we have plus 1. So how can we change this to plus 1? We can simply do that by adding 4 to both sides of this equation. So let's do that. If you add 4 to the left hand side, you know that negative 3 plus 4 will give us positive 1. So to the left hand side, we have 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 4y plus 1. And adding 4 to the other side, 0 plus 4 will give us 4. So if you take square root of this, it will be exactly as this. But to make the equation balance, you have to take the square root of the other side. And hence, you can see that square root of 4 is equal to 2, which implies that the square root of 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 4y plus 1 is exactly equal to 2, and hence the result. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye bye.